Everything I spit rare, we sound a deck. Ray Area podcast, they talk about hip hop all the way in the UK, so they gon' get props. Ooh, let me catch it once again. Every time I'm spitting, I be making.
So, episode title is pretty clear, but let's get into what inspired this conversation. So, Frank Ocean. Do we all know what's happened? Have we all been following what happened at Coachella?
He flopped his Coachella performance and he tried to pull out or something. I don't know. There's too much stuff going on. And then you sent me a Fantano video, which is a hate crime. I don't like Fantano, so that was it.
Whoa. We're starting on that.
It was. I feel like it was almost Kanye level notoriety in the media.
Yeah. People were upset because people have been waiting for so long to hear Frank perform anywhere. But it's like, realistically, when I think about it, I don't think Frank Ocean's even done a tour in like the last 6 years, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think he's performed live officially like that since 2017, maybe.
There you go, then.
It's been a long time. But yeah, I mean, the situation, a fair amount happened, I guess. So what we ended up finding out was that Frank broke his ankle or leg and sprained something else as well. So he suffered an injury. I don't know how soon...
We're expecting an energetic performance out of Frank Ocean. We're expecting him to do hella crazy shit, aren't we?
Well, this is the thing. So
apparently he was going to do an ice rink thing.
Yeah. So what then transpired is apparently Coachella were told fairly last minute that the idea to involve some sort of ice rink had to be pulled. So they then had to... I think they spent over an hour melting the ice. But then you've got all these performers on stage kind of wandering around like, oh, so we're not doing what we've been practicing for the last few weeks. So look, injuries happen. I'm not gonna press him too much and say, well, they could have done some kind of performance. I don't know. But then, yeah, so the crowd were waiting around for a pretty long time, which isn't like uncommon for a big act. I mean, Theo, I swear did you go see Guns N' Roses at Reading, and weren't they really?
Yeah,
I
was just about to say that Guns N' Roses were an hour and a half late.
Wow.
Stood there.
Which is again, it doesn't mean it's right. Yeah. It's just it's quite common.
No, it's not right. I'll tell you that right now, it's not right. Stand there an hour and a half, flipping off, man.
No, I don't think so either. And then from what I understand, because I've only seen like little video clips here or there, they pulled the live stream. Apparently, I knew that YouTube, there was loads of live streams going on YouTube for Coachella. Apparently, Frank and his team or whatever pulled the live stream very last minute, and Coachella weren't happy about that. And then the performance was a bit odd. I don't know if anyone's seen the clips. It was like for a portion, he was behind the screen or like not on the stage, but you could see him on the screen. I've seen.
He didn't have a microphone for a long period of time as well.
Yeah, there was clips of him. I think it was nights where he's not even singing through the mic, and then there was a rave set, like a DJ set in the middle of it or something like that, and which kind of sounds cool, but at the same time, it didn't quite. I don't know. It didn't quite hit for people. It was a bit of an odd one. There were some fairly heartfelt, emotional speeches from Frank because I think we all know that he lost his brother quite tragically in recent years, and perhaps he's still dealing with that. And then the curfew hit, and he had to come off the stage early. Well,
no, not early. He had to come off stage at the right time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He came off on time, but his set wasn't finished. So it sounds like a big old mess, really. And then a couple of days later, I think he's pulled out of the next one, which sounds about right. I mean, what do we make of all this, man? Like,
it's a mess. It's a mess. But the thing is with Frank, he's so ghost. Like, he's nowhere to be found. Yeah, he popped up on Tyler's album here, popped up over there doing this and that. You know, he's making his little merch things, selling jewelry and stuff. But if you're not ready to perform, which he probably wasn't at all, he should have never got out on that stage, regardless if he let people down, whatever. What he did in that stage, the little clips I saw, I was like, this is not good. This is not looking good. This is not going to help your career at all. If anything, it's done your career so much irreparable damage, really.
Well, I kind of feel like this is maybe a crossroads for his reputation. He can either go in a direction where he makes sure this never happens again. And I mean, let's be real about it. If Frank Ocean drops an album this year and it's the greatest album ever made, everyone's going to forget about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, some of the people there might still be hurt about it, and I get that. But most people, the majority of fans, if they get that great Frank Ocean album that they're anticipating, he's going to kind of be forgotten. But if not, he could very well go into the direction of someone like a Lauryn Hill, where we maybe
I
never.
do think though, yeah, no, it's good you say Lauryn Hill though, because Lauryn Hill has never fixed, even though she's made great albums, she's never fixed her live reputation. Like if you see a Lauryn Hill show, you don't expect her to come on time or give you a good performance or like an engaging one.
But
You
she's
know what I
also
mean?
never dropped a. She's never followed up. I mean, I know there was the MTV live album, and there's been features and things like that, but she's never dropped another full length project.
But do you
Right?
feel like dropping an album fixes the fact that you're just an awful person to see live?
I guess what I mean is like we've already like Frank's already not dropped for like what 7 years, coming up for 7 years.
Mm.
The longer that goes on, and then with an event like this that harms your reputation, less people are going to be invested in what comes next. And with Lauren, like, I mean, with Lauryn Hill, it's gone on so long. I mean, it seems like she's never really had intentions to drop an album, but I think that, along with the bad reputation of performing live, it kind of tarnishes the legacy. That's where I think Frank's at this point. I know we may be jumping the gun, but it's rocky. I think it's a bit rocky for him.
I wonder if Frank has a play though where he could go behind the scenes and just go back to songwriting. You know, like when he was in his Lonnie Brewer era, like just make some alter ego and just do songwriting and just goes to make that money. Because people want his talent. There's no denying people want his talent in the music
so
industry.
true.
But do we need him as an artist? Does he want to be an artist anymore? I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. I from what I can tell, from what I saw.
That's the thing. Well, following on from your point, I get the impression that he doesn't even want that. He doesn't even want that spotlight. I think he just wants to ghost. I think that even when watching, and it wasn't the most comfortable watch when you're looking on Coachella, I bet in his head he was like, right, I've kind of got to do this because of like the hype. Everybody's been waiting. Everyone thinks they're going to drop an album. It's been so long that he felt that he had to owe everybody that. But really, in hindsight, when he looks at it, I don't think he wanted to be there. I think he just wanted to, like, obviously he's had the injury. He just wanted to be away. So that's why it was such a mess. And I don't think he wants any of that spotlight. I think he wants to just go into his own, like, sort of little, like, I don't know. I say shell sounds harsh, but I think he just wants to just ghost and live the easy life. And like you said, Sam, maybe just do some songwriting and just chill and do that. Because a lot of artists have come out in the past and they don't want that spotlight. With that spotlight comes like such massive responsibilities and massive, like, everyone's involved in your life. And I just get that impression. He doesn't want any of that. I mean, would you want that anyway? Like 24/7 people just like knowing your whereabouts or what you're doing ins and out. If you make one mistake, that's it, you're done. I don't think he wants any of that. I think he just wants to chill.
No. I get that fear, but then you look at someone like Kendrick, who is also an elusive figure, and look how he's handled his return. And we all went on that tour. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he must be under immense pressure. You could tell from the album that he's been through a lot personally. I think that it's tricky, right? Because I want to be sensitive because these people do something that I would never be able to do, and I can't relate. And they must go through immense. Think about it, we all go through varying amounts of stress, anxiety, trauma, grief, whatever. To deal with those things and be a famous person and have all this expectation and this and that. I get it, but I'm kind of with you. I feel like if he really wanted to do it, despite the injury, despite whatever troubles that were going on, he would have made it work, right? Like, why did the ice rink have to get melted? Could the performers not have done their thing and he sat on a stool if he's broken his leg or sprained his ankle? Do you know what I mean? And like he sat, like, listen, like, Dave Grohl flipping broke his leg and then performed a full rock set, you know, with his guitar.
But that's the
and everything.
thing. What I'm trying to say is, like, Kendrick loves music. Dave Grohl loves music. I don't know if Frank loves music. I think Frank loves creating and he's a creative. But from what I can gather from this, it might have been his whole team around him being like, yo, we haven't had a paycheck in a while. And he's like, I don't give a fuck about that. But they kind of was like, no, maybe they did the slow coaching, but they're like, yo, you're ready to go back on. And he built him up. But then when it came time to it, you know, who's to say his leg was broken? We don't know that. It could have just been a lie to try and get out of things.
Yeah,
I get a really strong sense that he never wanted to touch that stage, and he tried everything in his power not to get out of that stage. But he got onto the stage, and you know, it is what it is now. Like, there's a quote, and I'm not sure if it was Frank that said it or someone who'd met Frank or something, but they were like, how do you deal with not releasing so much? It's like you just got to be comfortable living on less. Do you know what I mean? So clearly that living on less is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as he's not releasing new music. Like, I'm sure everybody's still streaming it, but it's not the same as doing a tour, which is, you know, where most artists get their big paychecks. So I feel like he's probably got 40% of that Coachella fee already just in the bank now, but he hasn't got the rest of it. And that might make more problems for him with his team, that he can't actually pay his team. Or if he pays his team out now, he's going to have like next to no money versus what he spent, if you see what I'm trying to say. It's very, I don't know. I think we're watching like a Kanye moment, but a different type of mental breakdown, if you see what I'm trying to say. Because mental breakdowns are all varying different types of things.
Although I wouldn't want to, like, from a financial place, I don't really want to assume too much, but I feel like Frank's okay for money, man. He's like, you know, I know he's not dropped music, but what he did to get out of that previous deal with Def Jam and what he did with the Blom release, and then what he's been up to in between. I know, like, if you like, he's been doing stuff. Do you get what I mean? And I think, like you sort of alluded to, maybe there's been some songwriting going on and this and that. So again, I don't really want to assume maybe he is struggling and kind of did this for the money and that. But I don't know. I guess what I'm getting at is, and again, I'm trying to be sensitive because there might be many other things at play, but ultimately, like we're all kind of suggesting, I don't think he wanted to do it. And that kind of segues into the wider question we want to discuss is, like, do artists owe fans? Did he owe the fans a performance? Do artists owe fans?
I'm not gonna lie, I actually feel like Frank did owe his fans a performance, because his fans are one of the main reasons why he's in it. It applies to all artists as well. However, I don't think he owed them a Coachella headline spot, literally on the biggest headline night. Like, he could have just done a normal show in an intimate setting if that's like, I think his fans would have literally been happy with that. None of his fans wanted what he actually gave them last weekend. Like, those fans enjoyed Skrillex doing apparently like the best show ever at Coachella, taking his spot yesterday. And I feel like those people deserved that when they're going to a festival, not like some lame. Yeah, I'm not trying to be deep, but that's not Coachella level.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I observed was just a very odd performance. Like, he could have done that at some random place, like a small venue, and it would have been amazing.
He wanted an intimate performance, didn't he? He was just sitting there. He wasn't even singing on the mic.
Yeah, he could have made a smaller artist have an amazing gig by just coming out at their show, you know, in a very small, like LA, whatever. But he came out on the big stage, and he doesn't want to do big stage very clearly. And I'd be interested to see, you know, well, he's not going to reply. That's the real problem. But I'd be interested to see what comes next from Frank Ocean, like whatever it is, because there has to be an answer to this. Like, I know we're answering the question: does he owe the fans anything? Before, no, but now he owes these people an answer, or at least a reason. You know, because there's money on the line there. People have paid money to come and see you. It's not like they've paid for Coachella, and there's a lot of people that bought a Coachella ticket just to see Frank Ocean perform. And what he did is, like, you know, ruined a lot of people's Coachella experience, if we're being honest.
I'm glad you mentioned the money, because there's something I wanted to say about that. But Theo, what are you saying? Like, generally, like, do artists owe
It's
fans
such a hard one
anything?
because I always say it's a flip of a coin, because part of me thinks that sometimes artists don't owe the fans anything, because they have to look after their own well-being and everything first, and it doesn't mean like being a slave driver and just meeting to every single fan demand. But on the flip side, like, when you're doing stuff like what Frank Ocean done, or you're doing a madness, or asking your fans to do, I don't know, go tooth and I can't even get my words together. If you're asking them to do a hell of a lot and you're letting them down with their expectations every single time, then 100% that I feel that you owe the fans something. I mean, I don't mean to bring them into June, but I thought it with like Kanye West with like Donda 2 and the STEM player. That's a madness. Like, you're saying that Donda 2 is going to be on a set date, and then when you're letting the fans down in that sense, you're telling them to go and get the thing so that they can. Sorry, I'm sounding a bit hood because of Top Boy.
That was so crazy.
But do you know what it is about the STEM player? No, the STEM player is still a product. It still works. You can still do the functionality on other things. It's still a thing, an experience. Once you've ruined an experience, there's no there's nothing you
No,
get
but
out
Sam,
of
don't
it.
you remember what Kanye did? He told everyone,
Exactly.
buy the stem player, Donda
And he
drops on
didn't.
this date. Lots of people bought the
That's
stem
what I
player
mean.
and it
That's
did
up
not
to
drop.
them. That's up to them. They fell for that,
a
but
new
it's still a
disrespect,
product.
man. That's a
It's still a
disrespect.
product.
That's what you
It's
owe.
still a product, and it still works. What Frank has done is he's ruined stuff. Like, imagine you're just like fresh 18. Your parents have bought you a ticket to Coachella. You go there. Frank does that, and now
Frank
suddenly
has
you're
actually done
depressed.
something worse for
There's
real. Because
someone
Kanye
out there
still
who's
delivered.
contemplating,
I hear what you're saying
finishing
because
himself
I
off
hear-
the back of this performance. They're like, if
No,
that's
I hear what you're saying
do you
because
see what I
that's
mean?
like you're spot on because you know if that was like someone's first like sort of festival experience, like I will never forget the first time I went to like Reading and I saw Eminem and I saw Blink-182 and their sets were just amazing. They lived with me till I'm old. And yet if that was your first experience of a festival and you were so excited to see Frank and you had that,
God.
nah, that kind of scars you from going to a festival again. Why would you want to do that? You'll then question yourself and think, does everyone do that?
Trust me.
Festival, it can scar you from being in life, bro. You might want to take yourself out of your life. You know what I'm
madness.
trying to say? It's really not fair.
So I think it depends, right? I don't think artists owe fans music, live performances, merchandise, interviews. They don't owe them anything, right? But and what I mean by that is none of us here. When do we ever say, "Oh, Frank needs to drop us an album"? Like, we don't do
We're
that.
always
We
kind
wait.
about it, yeah.
Yeah. However, and this is something that some artists kind of fail to recognize. And let's face it, some artists, many of them are hypersensitive, egotistical. Some are even narcissists, and they don't realize that when they release their albums, whether that be or projects, whether that be on streaming, physical, digital, when they headline a tour, when they drop a merch line, whatever, your art then becomes product. So you're now entering a business consumer relationship, right? And there are obligations with that. There are laws, there are regulations. If you market something a certain way, or you allude to something happening, so in this instance with Frank headlining Coachella, there is a huge expectation that comes with that. People probably spent an absolute fortune just to see him. Like,
Thousands.
obviously, they get more than that. They're getting more. But some people went there for him. That's when it becomes a problem for me. And that's when you do owe fans something, is when you are alluding or you are giving the impression that you were going to provide a certain product. Does that make sense so far? And
Yeah.
and I think with the stem player, I remember Theo, I think we disagreed with this at the time. You all know how I feel about Kanye, but I never had a problem with the stem player because to me it was like, okay, that's how you want to package your art. That's how you want to sell your product, right? Okay, if it's $200 or however much it is, that's fine. That's how you value your art. And if people want to pay that, they'll pay that. The issue, though, is what I think Kieran said, is if you're telling people they're going to get this on a certain date or it's going to come with these features or the product itself is such poor quality, that's when it's a problem. That's where I'm at with it, is like, Frank didn't need to do Coachella at all. He doesn't need to drop a new album. We don't need the new blonded merchandise line or anything like that. But when you sign that contract or you give people an impression that something is going to be a certain thing and it's going to cost this amount and you don't live up to that, that's when it's a problem. I'll stop there.
Yeah.
I think though,
No, it makes sense.
You wrote down MF Doom's name, and I feel like it's just like lighten it a little bit. I think if I went to an MF Doom concert and it wasn't him performing there, and it was just someone in a mask, I would go along with it because it makes sense to his
Yeah, but
art.
that's what I was going to say. It's about the character, isn't it? And Frank Ocean's character is he's meant to be this fragile, open, honest. Like he feels like a friend to you.
We
But
got
like
a
MF
live
Doom,
for this one though. With
Yeah.
Frank. It
Frank-
doesn't feel truthful at all.
Well, Frank just feels like I don't know, like we're throwing around a lot of names here, but it does feel like almost like a Lauryn Hill kind of Kanye
Yeah.
thing. It's like you'll get what I give you, and Sean threw out a few words, narcissist, psychopath, all this kind of stuff. It's like it's true, it's true though, but it's true because it's like I don't ever think I'd see a day where Adele would do something like this or Ed Sheeran. These are the artists that are in the
Facts.
same bubble as him, the people that can drop when they want. And they drop it sells. So, go on.
Sorry,
No,
go
you're
ahead.
fine.
Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
No, sorry, because you've mentioned something that I wasn't even going to bring up, but you've mentioned a name that's really good because it leads into something else, and it's a good example. So, you remember Adele had the situation with the Vegas residency and she pulled out pretty last minute and a lot of people were pissed off? But I think that's an example of handling that situation well. Because listen, everyone makes mistakes. We all go through things, and sometimes we do not adhere to our obligations, right? And in that instance, I don't know what happened, but Adele couldn't do those performances. But I feel like the apology that came after was sincere. And if I'm not mistaken, she's either done it or is doing it or is going to do it. So it's like, okay, I fucked up, but I'm going to make it up to you all. And that to me, like I said, is the kind of response you want when you've got people that appreciate you that much, that are willing to pay that amount of money. That's how you make up for it. And that's why I'm saying with Frank, sorry, this is an important point in his career. If he gives a shit, is that it's how he recovers from this. It's how he responds. I think there was a statement or something, but what comes next, because there's a lot of people out there, like I think Theo said, this might have been their first festival. They might have grown up on Frank's music and they might have, spent God knows how much money and put themselves into debt on all sorts of stuff. And
you got to think as well, though, like Frank's career has only been 10 years and he's left a really bitter taste in our mouth. If nothing happens after this, that's the only thing you're going to remember. That, he had this little run 10 years ago. Or like even longer now.
The real problem is, you think about it, if you love Drake, you've had many opportunities to see Drake over the last 10 years. If you love Cole, now I know I'm just mentioning rappers, but that's because we're on a rap and hip hop podcast. Think of all the major rappers, even down to Kanye before the last 3-4 years. You've had a chance to see them perform. Wherever you are in the world, you've had a chance. With Frank, I've not for lack of trying, I have not seen a Frank Ocean tour, a Frank Ocean ticket for sale, none of it. Like with Tyler, he had his band in the UK, so I could have travelled. I was even thinking to go to Portugal to see him a couple of years back, but I didn't bother. But the point I'm making is, this is the first and only opportunity, and it could have been something so special. And if it wasn't going to be that special thing, I'm just really confused why, in the days leading up to it, or the months even leading up to it, why they didn't just say, "Hey, Frank's not doing this." Yeah. Sorry, it's the fact that he was on that stage, and then videos of him look so. I didn't understand what was going on there, and I was just like, "You're performing Night, your biggest and best song in my eyes. You don't even seem excited by that. This is your first time performing anything from this album, and you're just there, kind of like." Vibing with the crowd, but not doing what. When I say doing what you're meant to do, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, you are the artist. You should at least have a microphone and be singing.
Like, it's mad. It's mad. It's more. It had more like listening party vibes than Coachella headline.
Took a leaf out of Kanye's book with that one.
Yeah, but
he was just like walking around the stage. Like, he was just walking around the stage. Honestly, I'm so confused by it. But for me to answer this question truthfully, do artists owe the fans anything? Yes, in certain situations they do. If you touch the stage, you better perform. If you release an album, you personally better be happy with that album, because people are going to have their opinions of it. And like, lastly, like, going forward for Frank, does he owe the fans anything? Yes. I don't know what it is.
An apology.
Not us who weren't there. Those people that were in that audience, they are owed something by Frank Ocean. But I just don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, time will tell. Like I say, I think he can either handle it well, like someone such as Adele has done. I think, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not really that well versed on that situation. Or it can go down the lane of, like we've suggested, someone like Lauryn Hill, or like even over here. How many times have we heard about Wiley not turning up to stuff or showing up late? And to the point where people are sort of, they're not sure about going to a, well, it's different now, obviously, what happened with Wiley in recent years, but prior to the whole situation,
he's cancelled for other reasons.
People were like, there was a reputation there, right? And it only has to happen a few times for it to damage that reputation. But the reason why I wanted to talk about Doom, just quickly to clarify, is that I feel like that is the only instance I can think of where I'm cool with that. And if there's anyone listening that doesn't know what we're referring to, is there were I mean, I don't even think it's rumors. I think it's all legit. Is that
It's real. It's multiple
Doom would have
occasions.
people show up and perform in his place as imposters. But if you know your Doom, if you know that character and his and the real life journey, that is so MF Doom. Like, I'm all here for it. And I didn't realize that until Talib Kweli explained it. He summarizes it so perfectly. So try and
He's
find
a
that
villain.
interview.
That's what a villain would do. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? He even has bars about it where he's like, come in the party and take all the money or something like that. He's like, you know what I mean? He's just like, jump on the stage and run away with the cash. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does
I
make
think,
sense.
I think the main problem we're having today is the fact that it's like, I think we're realizing we don't know Frank Ocean as well as we thought we did. He is somebody else. And we just have to accept that, I guess.
And then also at the same time, to sort of, I know it's very contradictory. It's when you now think about his career to date and his lyrics and, you know, just his music in general, it kind of makes sense because he is very elusive and very strange. There's this air about his music of feeling relatable, but also being like, Frank, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, he's very much, there's no one quite like Frank Ocean. However, that doesn't excuse what happened, I don't think, but time will tell. Hey, this is Sean, and thanks for listening to another episode of The Grey Area. Are you an upcoming artist, critic, journalist, or content creator? Hit us up on our Discord or in our YouTube comments if you want to share new music, take part in an interview, or are interested in collaborating. Links to these can be found in the show notes. Take care.